Hey, I'm Russ.
And I'm Steve.
Growing up in the 80s, we were introduced to video games, movies, and technology that made a lasting impression on us and forever enriched our lives.
I think I'm gonna cry.
It's been a fascinating journey to be a part of, one that we constantly treasure.
Higher, booty.
Our goal is simple: share our magical moments of discovery and geek out with lovely folks, just like you.
Achievement unlocked.
So if you crave pixel goodness, memorable moments, and experiences that make your inner child do the happy dance, you've come to the right place.
Let's do this.
Welcome to Joygasm.
Yeah.
Everyone, and welcome back to Joygasm, where we talk about video games, movies, and pop culture. My name is Russ, Xbox Live Toaster 360, and joining me is my social diseased-free brother, Steve, Xbox Live Stevavitch, as we begin episode 34 on this August 19th, 2017. If you have any questions, comments, or just want to show us some love, you can find us on Twitter at JoygasmTV and Facebook.com/JoygasmTV. You can also listen to us on SoundCloud at SoundCloud.com/JoygasmTV, or search Joygasm TV on YouTube, and no matter which platform you use to consume the show, please drop us a subscription, thumbs up, or review. It helps us build awareness, which we appreciate very much. We have a blue blur of a show for you today. In video game news, we check out the latest Overwatch news expected at Gamescom, the Splatoon 2 Switch bundle, and Crackdown 3. Movie news is filled to the brim with Deadpool 2, Shazam, Moviepass making waves, the movie It, Mission Impossible 6, Wonder Woman, and a brand new standalone Star Wars movie. Our topic of the day is Sonic Mania impressions, but first things first, Steve, how the heck are you?
Hey!
It's been so long!
Russ. It's good to see you.
Feelings mutual on this side of the table.
I like talking to you, you know?
I like looking at you.
I like actually what we talk about, too.
Oh, well, hey, that's a plus. Be a little awkward if it was the opposite.
You know, I have to get a thought off my mind, Russ. And it's in regards to the previous show. See, last time we were talking about all these microtransactions and the pros and the cons.
I remember it fondly.
And I talk a lot about Clash Royale.
That you do.
Yes, indeed. One thing that frustrates the crap out of me is Supercell has this sort of algorithm where if you pay a bunch, they will, and this is not proven, but it's talked about constantly in the forums and in my clan, and Supercell has said nothing about it. So it's not like yes or no, but anyway, what happens is they'll let you win. You know, of course, everyone has their own cards and their counter to certain attacks and plays and whatnot, defenses. But what'll happen is if you pay gyms, to either upgrade your cards faster or to do separate challenges, which is how they make their money, which is absolutely fine. The more you pay them, the more they will kind of set you up with people who have less defenses to cards that you have. So you're a little bit handicapped, not totally handicapped.
So they're trying to balance it out.
Exactly. So if you pay nothing, like my cheap ass, then every once in a while, what'll happen is I'll get up to a certain trophy count and then I'll lose like 6 in a row. And then I'm going, and then they go, okay, we'll place them back in this other realm. And then I'll start to win again. And it happens on the regular. And everybody notices it, and Supercell hasn't said anything about it. But, it's a free game. They got to make their money. But I mean, that's one of the aggravating things about it. Rant over. I'm good now, Russ.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Just think of me as your sounding board. You just let it out.
Oh, man.
So what games have you been playing?
Just my daily Overwatch dose. My
Overwatch dose?
Yeah, I have to get a dose of Overwatch in every day.
Oh, I thought you said dose like in an Overwatch 2.
Oh, yeah, dose.
I thought you were tapping into the old Espanol.
My bad. I know, I got to get an injection. My dose is an injection of Overwatch a day.
Well, especially if you say it the way you're supposed to say it. It does sound like you're getting a little fix.
Overwatch.
That's more like it.
If I had your glasses on, I'd probably fog them up when I said that. It's funny, when I was in...
It's called a monocle.
When I was in the spawn point once, when we were waiting all to get out there, the 30-second countdown, I was McCree, and I was just punching stuff to break it, whatever, wasting time. And I punched one of the...
Promised me we could break something.
I think I was on Ilios Lighthouse, and I punched one of the basketballs. It was kind of like dunk, dunk, and I punched it. Right after I punched it, it was going up towards the basket, and I thought, I'm going to miss again. I've never made the basket. And at some point, Reinhardt was just like swiping his hammer, and he hit the ball right as it was coming down before the basket, and ricocheted off and hit the basket.
Oh, a little assist. I was going to say assist. I'm like, ugh. Oof, that doesn't sound quite right.
Oh, boy.
Well, that's cool. I've also never gotten the basketball into the hoop, and I play Farah, as you well know, and I keep using my concussion. Man, I'm just Concussing.
I'm gonna give you a assist. I'm gonna give you a cussing rocket. I'm gonna cuss you right off the side.
Man, seriously. I like using my concussion rocket to try and get a bit more bounce with the basketball, and it will cause it to just go everywhere, but I have yet to have the famed confetti explode.
I don't know if... I still don't know, since it didn't really... I don't know if it gave me full credit for it or not. I don't know if you get any credit, period.
Yeah.
I mean, if it did, it probably went to Reinhardt because he was the last one to touch it. But I didn't get anything. It just, the whistle went off and the confetti and whatever. Mm-hmm. I do have an announcement to make, though, Russ.
You're pregnant.
Pregnant of loot boxes, yes. By next episode, I will have opened them all.
Really? So have you actually started to open them? I have
not started. No, I am up to 88.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm up to 88. So I'll give you a full report of what has been received by next episode.
Okay.
Stay tuned, Raz.
I'm very curious. I imagine you'll be burned out of opening loot boxes the next time I see you.
No, I'm going to have a freaking Joygasm. But before I, keep on going, Russ, I mean, I did watch a movie last night, but I want to hear from your ass.
Oh, no, please continue. I'm curious. What movie did you watch?
Well, I watched The Free State of Jones.
I have not heard of that.
I don't think it was that popular, but I did enjoy the movie. It's Matthew McConaughey. All right. And the gentleman whose name I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce because I'm going to butcher it, but it's Remy from House of Cards. That guy, he's in this movie, and I'm like, finally, I get to see a movie with this guy in it. But no, it's a very interesting movie. It's set in the Civil War period. And if I were to give you a quick summary, basically, I feel like Inigo Montoya. Let me explain. No, that'll take too long. Let me sum up.
I forgot about that line. That was good.
No, that will take too long. Let me sum up. So a lot of people think that the Civil War is based solely on slavery. Excuse me, man. I had to cough. I was getting some saliva that was caught in my esophagus. And though it was based on the institution of slavery, there was many other complexities that happened within the South where cotton was like the blood running veins of their movement, basically, right? So you had the South that was selling cotton like crazy money to Britain, and Britain was paying them like 200% of what it was worth. So they was fueling their economy in the South, plus fueling their military, right? So the South themselves were like, okay, a lot of us don't even want slavery to happen. We don't want the institution, period. And we're basically fighting a rich man's war for cotton when none of us even have, or not a lot of us don't have slaves and don't want slaves. So why are we fighting this war? And a lot of folks went, we're done. We'd rather secede from the South, who is trying to secede from the nation, right? From the North.
What is this movie called?
The Free State of Jones.
Okay. When did this come out?
I think it was 2015 or 2016.
Okay.
Anyway, so ergo, that's where this movie takes place. It's this guy's going, my friends and my neighbors are all dying, basically, so everybody else can force slavery and force this tie to Britain, and we're trying to be our own nation, right? And this is all happening like 1860, between 1860 and 1865. So ergo,
You just said that again.
I know. Ergo,
That's Steve's
I'm
word of the week, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm ergoing my ergo. Not to be, I'm ergoing my hairgo. Anyhow, so
Whether you want to or not.
So anyhow, that's where this movie takes place. And so Matthew McConaughey is kind of like this resistance leader within the South. And the South kind of having their own little mini Civil War within the Civil War. So anyhow, it shows definitely a different part of history that I don't think gets covered a whole lot in the classroom. And I think is probably being forgotten. It's definitely an interesting movie. For Sheezy.
Well, my.
Indeed.
Steve. Yes. So I had the pleasure of playing Titanfall 2 with Big Baby Moose.
Oh, snap!
He has actually been quite involved in that game, which I was unaware of. I didn't think that he even owned Titanfall 2, but alas, he has, and he is very much experienced in it. So we played the multiplayer part of it, and it was my first time playing it, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's essentially
awesome.
It's kind of like Horde mode for Gears of War. Where it's like it's survival, like you have these waves of enemies that come at you and you're trying to take them out.
That sounds cool in Titanfall.
Actually, it is. It's pretty cool. We had other players join us as well. And so I haven't played the game in quite some time. I remember I started to play the single player campaign when I first bought it. And then it was just one of those titles that has gone by the wayside. So it feels good to get back into it. And I gotta say, the weaponry in that game is really well thought out. Just from the way it feels to the way it sounds.
Oh, yeah. I like the way it sounds.
Even the rack focus they do where they blur out certain parts of the foreground as well as other areas, give you that tunnel vision when you're going through the iron sight, so to speak.
Sure.
The game has a really cool feel to it. I'm going to have to really give it a proper playthrough. Just because everybody I've talked to, they say, oh, yeah, this is like way better than the first Titanfall. So getting through that. In Horizon Zero Dawn, I managed to hack into all of the tall heads, which I think I showed you one of them last time you were over here.
They're pretty tall.
They are pretty tall, yes.
And they have
tall necks. I think it's not tall heads, tall necks.
Tall necks, flat heads.
Flat heads, that's right. I have also beaten all of the cauldrons. So I can now hack into every creature within Horizon. I'm very excited. I was actually testing it out, and it is so gratifying, dude. Like, all of the bigger beasts that I come across, normally I would just avoid them like the plague. Now I'm making a point to go right toward them, hack into one of them, and just watch them do like this huge WWF style battle against each other. It's pretty satisfying.
When I hear the word cauldron, what I think of is when I'm about to sneeze and the sneeze goes away, you're like, I thought I was gonna sneeze. What I see is like this cauldron, right, in my nose, and then like spices go, and like it flares up like in my nostrils, and that's what makes me like nearly sneeze. Like
I would have never guessed that. I thought you were totally going to say something like, I picture a witch and she's like brewing something.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get you, my pretty.
Yeah,
and
she's
your little dog,
there you go. She's the one who's brewing the cauldron, and she's the one who puts like the magical dust boof in there, and that's what makes me almost sneeze. It's the witch in my sinuses.
There you go. Let's see. I'm still having a wonderful time through Horizon. I'm still going through. I decided to back up a bit and go back to the main story just because I'm now at level 24, and I hear that there are a total of 50 levels in Horizon. So I was looking at my progress in terms of the overall completion, and I'm like 30%. So I'm not even halfway done with the game, and I'm already halfway through the levels.
That's
so
cool.
I need to back up a bit because I don't want everything to be just a complete breeze through. I've kind of decided to go my own way, which it's pretty rewarding. It's the same thing like in The Witcher where you can go wherever you want to go.
Exactly.
And
I love it.
You kind of forge your own adventure.
So rewarding.
That way,
Absolutely.
In addition to that, I've been playing Overwatch with you.
You didn't say it right, but I forgive you. I forgive you.
Please say it for me, Steve.
Overwatch.
That's perfect. Thank you. Just been enjoying that. Playing a little bit of Lucio Ball. Lucio Ball, I suck terribly at, but it is a way for me to try and get additional loot boxes. And since there are several costumes that I would love to score, I'm just going ahead and biting the bullet and keep trying.
Oh, my tooth.
I do agree with you, though. I remember, I think it was either the previous episode or the episode before that. You were talking about how they should have additional summer games in the Summer Games 2017. I could not agree more. I think that, especially considering the fact that they've had a year to re-examine that, I think that it would have been really cool to have thought of other mini games to do within that whole, temporary game feature. So, in terms of the movie stuff, I actually started watching The Matrix again.
Oh,
I just was kind of cruising through Netflix and I saw it come up and I was like, I haven't watched this in years.
That is funny because the other night I saw it too and I added it to my list. I'm
Did
like,
you really?
Yeah, because I don't have the Blu-ray of it, and I thought, man, this movie has a lot of high def stuff and a lot of like real contrast, rich blacks and stuff. And so I added it to my list. But go ahead.
I haven't gotten too far into it. I basically stopped it when Neo gets rescued and he's realizing that there's the real world versus the dream world.
The real world.
Yeah. You take the blue pill.
Such a good movie. Oh, The Matrix rules.
So here's the deal. Like in the movie, some of the special effects that I saw, like when Neo touches the mirror and all of a sudden it starts to like drip onto his fingers and it's crawling up his arm and stuff. You could tell like it's dated.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
However, the movie is still a terrific movie. Like,
Absolutely.
They cast everybody perfectly. One of the things that struck me was actually how young everybody is.
Yeah.
If you think about it, that movie came out, I want to say around 1999. I think that's when it came out.
Yeah, no, that was a while ago.
And what was crazy about it was Keanu Reeves and just all of them. And you look at them and you're like, my gosh, like they're all youthful and healthy looking. Like they're just
1999. You're right.
Hey, I know my movies. Lawrence Fishburne just looked young and sprightly too. Like they had. I mean, I think Keanu was probably. I mean, let's see. Keanu is in his. I want to say his early 50s.
Yeah,
now.
pretty close. Yeah.
So that would mean that he was probably about our age when he did the first Matrix movie. He was probably in his like mid to late 30s.
Yeah.
And you could tell, I mean, you watch and you're like, man, he looks like a baby. It's so weird because like, you see him in John Wick and he looks obviously
older, but he doesn't look that old. Keanu Reeves is like one of those guys. He's like, he's like defying age in a way.
He's like a fine wine. But anyway, just looking at all the actors in there, it was just great. But it's just, to me, like the Matrix was such a quintessential Warner Brothers style movie, especially the first opening scene when Trinity is like running across those rooftops and you have the agent following with the cops and they're doing these crazy jumps and stuff. And just, I don't know, Warner Brothers has always had a cool, like, a lot of movies that have that certain kind of cinematography, that certain kind of look that it's almost like film noir, but not. It's like an updated version of it, but just, I don't know, like just that kind of thing I've always been a big fan of.
That movie has the X factor.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where it takes you for a ride the entire movie. There's no lull. There's no dull points. There's almost no bad parts in the film.
Oh,
it takes
not the first one.
Oh, it takes you for a ride. And at the end, you feel like, whoa, wow, what a ride. You know what? The time went by really fast, but it was actually, a well-produced movie.
Yeah.
I remember my last job. Excuse me, Russ. I'll let you continue in a minute.
Oh, that's okay.
I gotta tell you something else. So my last job, we were in the break room and I'm eating lunch and we had the TV going, cable, and it was playing The Matrix. And I was working with a lot of 20-something-year-olds, and they're all like just eating, looking at the movie like, wow, this is interesting. I've never seen this before. And I look at it and I'm like, hey, have you not seen this movie? Like, I'm pretty stoked that The Matrix is on TV right now. And they go, this is what's The Matrix? I'm like, you never seen The Matrix? No. I'm like, oh my goodness, you have got to watch this movie.
Yeah.
I think the same thing happened when like Terminator 2 came out or something like that. I'm like, you never seen this movie? Oh my goodness.
Terminator. Oh, kids, sit down and watch it.
So anyhow.
Yeah, I just... Such a cool, fashionable movie. I mean, just everything about it is just,
it's one of those movies, good. I mean, you got to buy it and because you're going to watch it at least 20 times.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, for sure.
I mean, even the scenes with like Hugo Weaving, I mean, Hugo looks really young too. You look at him and they're in the whole interrogation sequence. I just love it. He did such a masterful job as Agent Smith and I don't know. I gotta keep watching it because I gotta see all the fight scenes and just all the craziness that goes on during the second half of the film. But yeah, I just hadn't seen it in a long time. I'm like, I need to check into this again. And then, I didn't like the Matrix 2 and 3 as much as the first one. The first one was just perfect to me.
Yeah.
There were elements to the second and third ones that I did appreciate a lot, but I feel
the second, I
felt as though like kind of the fun factor, the magic was somewhat diminished in the second and third ones. But anyway, maybe at some point in the future we can actually get more into the Matrix trilogy. But aside from that, I posted up some stuff on the Joygasm Facebook page regarding the Infinity War. And I think you may have seen it, but it's concept designs that were released, and it shows kind of a group shot of the Avengers with Guardians of the Galaxy with Spidey.
So cool.
I'm telling you, dude, that right there is a Joygasm. You look at that and you're like, I am so lucky to be alive right now. This type of event is something that we would fantasize about back when we were like in junior high. Like we were talking about what would it take to like actually have a movie where you would combine all these characters together. And it's unreal to be able to be living in the here and now and be like, I am witnessing this historical event through pop culture as a result of, just the journey that Marvel Studios has taken us on. And it's been such a fun ride considering, we just talked about The Matrix. The Matrix came out before any of these comic book movies were released. When the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man came out, I think that came out in like 2001, 2002, somewhere around there. Yeah. I think that maybe it was even 2002. So if you think about it, The Matrix came out in 1999. There were not any comic book oriented movies, and so The Matrix was the closest thing to a comic book movie that the public could really get their hands on.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of those kind of superhero-esque traits to it, that sort of thing. And so then now, you fast forward to 2017 and you're just like, wow, there are just all these movies have been so well realized. So anyway, I just want to make it a point to post that stuff up there. So if you folks haven't had a chance to actually check out some of that, just go to facebook.com/JoygasmTV and you will find lots of little visual goodies right there. I do have some house cleaning that I wanted to let you guys know. You may have noticed that there was not a Joygasm episode that got dropped this past Friday. And that is because we are going to be moving to having a Joygasm podcast be released once a week, every Monday, instead of 2 times a week. And the reason why we're doing this is because we realized that we weren't really playing very many games. We talk about it on the podcast, but we really haven't had a chance to be able to engage you guys as it relates to actually being able to sit down, play games, have you guys join up with us, party up, that sort of thing. So what we decided to do is that during the week, we are going to be allocating our time toward Twitch. And if you do a search for Joygasm TV, you'll find us there. And we're still kind of working out like the exact dates. We're going to have like a schedule so that way you'll know precisely when it is. We'll be on there. But we just want to be able to engage the gaming community a bit better and actually have time sitting down and just being able to record ourselves playing, be able to post that up on YouTube and all that fun stuff. So the other thing too is just that with regards to the podcast, there's just a lot of stuff that happens in life. There's just a lot of things going on with regards to just there being 2 of us. I, of course, having a family, that sort of thing. I want to make sure that I can give you guys my best instead of my leftovers. And that's a really just a convicted thing that I wanted to be able to be 100% transparent with all of you. And I think it's going to work out great just because I also noticed too, I think that folks who are into podcasts, they tend to listen to multiple podcasts. We realize that we are not the only ones that you listen to. We're definitely thrilled that you do listen to us. But I think that it's a little difficult for folks to be able to try and keep up with the latest episodes. So hopefully this will be able to be a little easier for everybody to digest and get to grips with. And as a result, will be an even better product.
Plus, your energies can be expelled to bring everything up to date, Russ.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can see the finished product of your beautiful website, and we can have our YouTube go up at the same time that our podcast goes up, as well as our SoundCloud going up.
Exactly. And that's one of the big things, too, is just the fact that I'm putting a ton of TLC into the Joygasm website. So when it goes live, it'll be a terrific just outpost for us, and just be able to have folks be able to stop by, check us out, see what all the hoopla is about. And like you said, too, just I want to be able to get all of our content uploaded simultaneously, so that way no platform is behind by a few days or whatnot.
Russ, I think you should just admit that you're tired of me whipping you, like riding on your back, hanging on your shirt collar, like, come on, let's go to that podcast, Russ, get the YouTube up. Because I'm not as learned as you are and all this stuff, so I can pretty much contribute nothing except ideas.
Steve, you contribute a lot. You contribute in hugs. I like hugs.
I love this guy. You're like, one more. Oh, okay. Yeah, that got it out of there. Yeah. I'm your amateur chiropractor.
Well, having said all that, what do you say we get into some gaming news, Steve? Huh?
Let's do it.
To kick things off, Gamescom 2017, new Overwatch map and animated short coming next week.
Yeah.
Blizzard is going to Gamescom next week and will be bringing a new Overwatch map and animated short with it. A new map will be revealed in a preview video being shown on Monday, August 21st, while the new short will arrive 2 days later during a live-streamed Blizzard reveal ceremony on Wednesday, August 23rd. This will be the first new animated short. I'm pumped. A specific team Blizzard uses for its CG, character-centric mini-movies since last year's Sombra introduction, Infiltration. Recently, director Jeff Kaplan indicated that the shorts will be returning for a second season, so this is hopefully just the beginning. Blizzard is bringing new content and events for most of its current games, slate to be represented at Gamescom. Let's see, we have Hearthstone. Thank you. We have a new Fireside Gathering features, including a playable group raid against the Lich King, Hearthstone's Global Games Finals take place on August 25th and 26th.
Were you about to say the Lick King?
I was.
Yeah, I'm a
this King just likes to lick me all day.
Yeah,
what the heck?
That's the name for my pit bull. You know, I think I know the name of the new map.
Well, hold that thought. Steve. Look at this. The next item on the list is World of Warcraft. New details on the upcoming 7.3 patch on Wednesday, August 23rd. World of Warcraft European Championship Finals take place throughout the event. We have Heroes of the Storm. A new hero will be announced on Monday, August 21st. Heroes of the Storm Showdown will be a live show, including fights between community personalities and the pros. And StarCraft 2 will also make a presence known with new co-op commander, which will be revealed on Monday, August 21st. Steve, what was your little map comment?
I think the new map is going to have something to do with Roadhog and oh crap, what's the guy's name?
Junkrat. Oh my gosh, I just pulled that out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be their hometown. And the reason,
really?
The reason I say that is because I was doing some digging on the data mining PTR people. And you know how Athena in the first map says, "Oh, you're welcome to King's Row.
Yeah,
welcome to Gibraltar." Yeah. So she at one point they heard her say, "Welcome to Junkertown."
Ah.
So that might be it. That might not be it. But
well, I'm hoping that perhaps they will tease another character. Yet another character to add to the roster.
You know what would be freaking sweet is that if they go, you know what? Since we're one big happy Overwatch family, and you guys love all our content, we're gonna announce a new animated series coming to you live on TV. I'm like, yes,
that would be cool, but
Netflix
I don't
original.
think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I know. What can only hope?
Splatoon 2 Switch bundle headed to us. Next, Splatfest is also announced. John Wilds reports North American customers will finally be able to get the ridiculously fresh pink and green Splatoon 2 themed Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons in a Walmart exclusive console bundle next month. The bundle, which launches on September 8th for $380 USD, includes a Nintendo Switch console complete with the neon pink and neon green Joy-Cons, as well as a download code for Splatoon 2 and a carrying case. Additionally, Nintendo has announced that the next Splatfest will be all about which superhero power fans would want to have. flying, or invisibility. The Splatfest will run from September 1st through the 2nd. The prior Splatfest, in which Team Mayo beat Team Ketchup, featured white and red ink respectively, leading us to wonder how one might make an event that features invisible ink. Ching. That was according to, of course, IGN. But Splatoon actually is a game that I've seen previews for. I have a couple of friends who played it. They think it's a fun game. It's yet another game that once I actually get my hands on a Nintendo Switch, I'll probably pick up. Nintendo's they're killing it this year. Actually, all companies really are doing a fantastic job. I just can't believe the sheer amount of titles that are coming out that are all just AAA quality. But one particular AAA title, however, that will be delayed is Crackdown 3. Originally planned for a November 7th release date, Microsoft has announced that Crackdown 3 has been delayed. Let's see, it looks like Loftus told Polygon, quote, "We want to make sure to deliver the right game with the right quality, and at the right time, Crackdown 3 is a hugely ambitious game, and we want to ensure we deliver the right experiences all the way through every part of the game, whether that's campaign, co-op, multiplayer, or our competitive multiplayer mode, Wrecking Zone. Getting the balance right between the three modes is important, and we want to take the extra development time to ensure that. Gamers can expect Crackdown 3 in spring of 2018, end quote." I've actually never played any of the previous Crackdowns. Have you?
I haven't. When it was coming out, I was really interested in it, and I don't know if it was popular or not popular, but I lost sight of it, and out of sight, out of mind. I just kind of forgot. So,
I know that our good old friend Brad is a big fan of it.
Yeah, of course. He plays everything. Friggin' Brad.
Let's get into movie news, shall we, Steve? So this is a bit of a sad notion, but Deadpool 2 stunt person dies on set. Police is investigating. Vancouver Police Department said a female died while performing a motorcycle stunt. And I know that Ryan Reynolds actually has been very vocal about his condolences to the family of the lady, and just how the whole cast and crew has been affected by that. Obviously, Deadpool is a very popular movie. It's a very fun-filled movie, a lot of quips and stuff like that.
Did somebody else pass also that was working on the movie? I remember like a few episodes back we were talking about it. I don't know if it was Deadpool 2 or something, but we were talking about how they should give condolences at the end of the movie, like at the credits.
Yeah, I remember something about that. Yeah. I don't recall which. It was not Deadpool.
Was it not Deadpool? Okay.
No, this was the only accident that resulted in a tragic death. But yeah, I remember us talking about it. There was something else that was there. But anyway, moving right along, Shazam is the next DC movie to shoot. In an interview with Film Riot via Heroic Hollywood, director David F. Sandberg confirmed the script for the movie is complete, indicating it won't be too long now until production starts. According to earlier reports, filming should begin sometime early next year for a potential 2019 release. Sandberg also revealed there were older versions of the script that featured Black Adam, which, if you recall or not recall, Steve, Dwayne Johnson was really attached to the Black Adam. But anyway, it was in the film before the director joined the project. However, Shazam has since been split into two movies, with Johnson getting his own standalone Black Adam film.
Johnson! What's that in the sky? It looks like a big Johnson!
He goes by The Rock, but instead his real name is Dwayne Johnson! This next story is a big one. This is one that I'm not sure if even you've heard of, Steve, but I am very excited about and I want to subscribe to it. The headline is Moviepass drops price to $9.95, which draws anger from partner AMC Theaters.
Ooh.
Check it out. Jonathan Dornbush reported that you can now see a movie per day in theaters for under $10 a month.
Hey.
But the new subscription price point from the Moviepass service has caused one of the company's partners to consider opting out of the program. Moviepass announced its new price point yesterday, allowing interested buyers to subscribe into the service for $9.95 a month. Users then download an app and are mailed a debit card, which allow users to check into a movie at partnered theaters once a day and see one movie every day. Effectively, the service now pays for itself with one movie viewing in many parts of the United States. Those who already subscribed will automatically be adjusted down to that price on their next bill.
So it's not like you have to. There's no minimum. It's just you have to see at least one movie.
This is essentially the Netflix model. For $10 a month, you can go every day of a month and watch one movie per day.
That is crazy.
Think about that. I mean, if you go to just see one movie, it essentially costs you $10.
Right. And the thing is too. Well, finish your thought.
Oh, okay. The final note I have on here is that the change has brought the ire of AMC Theaters, which released a press release noting that the company is, quote, consulting with its attorneys to determine if or how AMC can prevent a subscription program offered by Moviepass from being used at AMC Theaters in the United States, end quote.
Why this is a good thing is A, because it's going to draw more people to the movie theater to see movies in the theater. And movie theaters are already struggling for cash as it is, which is why the popcorn and the snacks and everything else is so high priced. We just figured that out when we went to Dunkirk the other day. So if I'm going to go see a movie and it's going to be for free, A, I'm going to be at the theater more often, and B, I'm going to be more willing to spend on refreshments and the snack bar and everything, which is actually how the theater is going to make more money in the long run. Not necessarily by more movie tickets, but for sure by the snack bar. That's why it's a good thing.
It's a huge game changer. And I think that folks who are part of the theater industry, the movie industry, I think that they're having to wrap their minds around it because, to your point, you were talking about how the food is what the theaters sell in order to really make their money. They don't really make a ton of money on the tickets.
Yeah.
That's more of the studios. So I think the movie studios would have. I'm actually surprised that AMC is one who's objecting more to this.
Yeah.
I would think that all the movie studios will be up in arms about this because that could potentially be problematic in terms of their overall profits.
Yeah.
But I totally want to subscribe, get a debit card because, I mean, there are especially this summertime, there are so many movies out that I would totally see, more than once.
I mean, Wonder Woman, prime example.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are tons of them that I would go see like 3 or 4 times if it meant that it was just basically like, I'm paying $10 a month. I can see whatever movie I want per day.
And the thing is too, if I might be wrong, but I think the way, if I remember correctly, is for the first, let's say a movie comes out. I think for the first 2 weeks altogether, the theater makes no profit, 0 profit on the movie. It all goes to the studio.
Where'd you hear about that?
I heard it a while ago. I learned that like around 2000.
We'll put a disclaimer in here saying that may be incorrect.
That's why I said, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
But I'm almost positive, and that's why they rely so heavily on the refreshment center, is because they don't make hardly any profit for the first 2 weeks.
Sure.
If you see the movie after the first 2 weeks, then they start to make up that, but that all the hype is gone, so they're not going to get as big of a crowd.
It tracking to have biggest Stephen King movie opener ever. Variety reports a $50 million weekend would make it the best opening ever for a movie based on King's work, as well as the biggest September debut of all time. The month's current record holder is Hotel Transylvania 2 at $48 million. Variety notes sources, quote, close to the studio, end quote, believe the $50 million figure is too high, especially considering the film's R rating. And, quote, an opening in the $40 million range is more likely, end quote. Even then, it would nearly double 1408's current opening record for a King movie, which stands at $20.6 million according to Box Office Mojo. Have you seen those trailers for It?
I hate that trailer. That thing's spooky, especially like the end of the trailer. I forgot what the kid says, but there's another kid looking for the other kid in the sewer.
Yeah,
and he starts repeating something a lot. Like I can't do it. I hate clowns too. Clowns spook me. Freak me out.
Well, it looks like the forehead of the clown It. Like it looks like it's an extended forehead. Like it looks unnaturally big.
I can't do it.
Mission Impossible 6 production on hold due to Tom Cruise injury.
Yeah.
Paramount has confirmed to IGN that Cruise broke his ankle, ouch, while performing a stunt, and that production has halted until he is fully recovered.
It'll grow back.
The full 'tis many a flesh wound. The full statement reads, quote, during production on the latest Mission Impossible film, Tom Cruise broke his ankle while performing a stunt. Production will go on hiatus while Tom makes a full recovery, and the film remains on schedule to open July 27th, 2018. Tom wants to thank you all for your concern and support and can't wait to share the film with everyone next summer, end quote. Variety reports the actor may have broken his ankle in 2 places and hurt his hip after failing to leap across a building gap. Sources have estimated a pause in production to Variety of between 6 weeks to 3 months. Any further delay could also potentially impact the release and filming of the recently announced Top Gun sequel Maverick, which is currently slated to hit theaters on July 12th of 2019, according to the initial report.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Just go ahead and go break your ankle, why don't you? Thanks.
Well, that's another actor. He's in his 50s. It's like, what are you doing jumping across building rooftops?
That's called respect.
Yeah.
Doing his own stunts, man.
And he does. He does all of his own stuff. That's crazy. Let's see here. Oh, we can't get enough of Patty Jenkins. She's close to closing historic Wonder Woman 2 deal.
As we all knew.
Lucy O'Brien reports Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins is in final negotiations to helm the sequel. Deadline reports that the reason behind this came down to Jenkins' negotiations about her salary after Wonder Woman was such a smash hit for Warner Brothers, stating that Jenkins has been fighting for a salary on par with the male director in the wake of such a successful first film.
As she should.
As of Thursday evening, the deal was being finalized, and if it goes through, Jenkins will reportedly be the highest paid female director in Hollywood.
Cool.
There you have it.
Man, good, make us another good movie, Jenkins. Please.
Last but certainly not least, Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi standalone film reportedly in the works. Is this guy pumped? Yes, he is. Jonathan Dornbush reports a standalone Obi-Wan Kenobi Star Wars film is reportedly in the works, and a possible director is supposedly in early talks for the project. Sources have told The Hollywood Reporter that an Obi-Wan Kenobi film project currently has no script or stars attached to it, but Billy Elliot, director of Stephen Daldry, is reportedly in early talks to helm the film. I've never heard of this guy, but I'll have to do some background research.
Obi-Wan, you're our only hope.
If he signed on, according to The Hollywood Reporter, he would oversee the development and scripting of the film. THR's report mentions that Lucasfilm is continuing to reportedly look into developing Yoda and Boba Fett films, among other spin-off Star Wars entries.
Baba or Boba?
The talks for Daldry's involvement are at very early stages, according to The Hollywood Reporter.
Kenobi. I wonder if he needs Ben Kenobi.
Is that like the surfer version of Luke Skywalker?
Oh, bro. Is that like Ben Kenobi? Do you know anybody by the name of Obi-Wan?
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I
feel a little resurgence developing inside me.
Geez, Steve. What? Do you feel the hairs on the back of your neck raising?
Yes, I do.
Are you getting goose pimples on your arms for
not pimples?
No reason.
I don't see any
whatsoever?
whiteheads, Russ, but there is some bumps.
Well, I think it's because we've reached the topic of the day.
It's been a good night's sleep. I can take on the world. Yes. I feel like it's Friday and I just got out of work. And I'm going to take a vacation for like 3 months.
Oh, man. I never get tired of that. Oh, man. It's so good.
I feel like I'm walking out of the office, tie blowing in the wind. Yes.
You know it's so good? Let's listen to it again, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Get in where they go.
No traffic on the way home. No cops. 100 miles an hour. Whisk the wife up in your arms and give her a big smooch.
I'm invincible.
Yes. I've beaten Brad's gamer score.
Oh, man. You can have the crappiest day in the world. You pop that on and suddenly you're just on top of the world. Well, the topic of the day is Sonic Mania impressions. Steve and I sat down on the old couch and we popped in Sonic Mania, which I downloaded for Xbox One.
Simultaneously launched Twitch.
Oh, that's right. Well, that was the first time we actually did a little testy test on Twitch.
Twitch.
Twitchy Twitch. And we were able to broadcast. I think we did like a 45-minute broadcast, and it was cool. It was just to enable us to get to grips with the Twitch platform, and but also just have a whole lot of fun with the blue blur.
We didn't tell anybody we were going to do it either, but...
Well, we intentionally didn't because we wanted to actually make sure everything was working correctly. We didn't, we didn't want to like broadcast it and then all of a sudden everyone shows up and we're like, yeah, I can't. No, they can see us, but they can't hear us. No, they can hear us, but they can't see us.
It's funny because we actually got 11 followers from nowhere, and then I was like slumped over on the couch, like enjoying myself, just totally relaxation mode. And then you pointed at the screen like, oh my gosh, Ron, like the Kinect finally loaded up the video and we're like slumped over, totally
Quit
casual
sucking
style.
Our guts.
Yeah.
look sexy.
Put some chill in your hair quick.
This is just not going to work.
But that was funny though. I hope people had a good time watching us and hearing us and watching Sonic gather all his bling.
So this is something that I think I'll start off with this time.
Why don't you do that, Russ?
I am a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan.
I'm a huge watching you play Sonic the Hedgehog fan.
Oh, my goodness. So for those of you that don't know, both Steve and I have been huge diehard Sega fans growing up. When we were kids, we got the Sega Master System, the Sega Game Gear, the Sega Genesis, Sega CD, Sega 32X, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast. So, Sega! Yeah, exactly. So one of the interesting journeys that we've witnessed over the last decade or two is that Sonic has really had an identity crisis. Back in the day, Sonic was the flagship title that moved consoles. It was the killer app title that Sega relied on. It was Sega's mascot. And I, for one, really did enjoy the first Sonic the Hedgehog. The first one I bought, I actually remember saving up my money. I was in 6th grade, I believe, at the time. And we went to the mall and we had to actually go to a Macy's of all places.
That's right. Yeah. Friggin' Macy's.
And Macy's, we're trying to like figure out where their electronics department is.
Was no GameStop.
There was no GameStop. Back in the day, you had like Software, etc.
Yep.
You had
Electronics Boutique.
Boom. Actually, Electronic Boutique. What came out a little bit later? It was only
Sega CD.
It was Babbage's and Software, etc.
Babbage's. Oh yeah, I remember Babbage's.
Yeah, way back in the day.
I think one was like on the top floor of the mall, and the other one was on the bottom floor.
Yeah, the rivals. But it was so cool. I just remember vividly. This is one of the memories of was just sealed away in my heart of hearts. But I remember going to the counter. I had this glass counter, and they had like different types of games and other electronics and stuff. And up on the TV, one of those old school CRT monitor style TVs, they had Sonic the Hedgehog playing. And back in the day, 16-bit was king. And I remember just being absolutely floored because I had watched and read all of the articles from like Game Pro magazine and Electronic Gaming Monthly, and we didn't have YouTube or any other types of video capability back then in the online days. That was back in the dial-up days. So
it took you like 10 minutes just to load a 3-second video.
Well, and it was just crazy. Like back in the day, there wasn't any video back then. It was all purely like JPEGs. Like if you had like a 640 by 480 JPEG or an 800 by 600 JPEG, I mean, it would take you a little while for it to actually get through everything. But
little by little,
yeah, it's like line by line, and it's like totally pixelated. So you get down to the bottom, you think it's done, all of a sudden it starts going from the top down again, and it's like refining itself. Yeah. You're like,
I can see something.
So I remember looking up at the TV, and I remember seeing Sonic in action and just being absolutely blown away by the graphics, by the music, just how fast and fluid everything was. I knew this was something special as a kid back in the day. And I remember just clutching that box, the gaming box of it in the car on the way home, and just opening it up and just looking at the cartridge art on there, as well as the box art, the instruction manual back when, we actually had instruction manuals showing you how to play the game. And I played that game I don't even know how many hours I sunk into that game, but I played that game start to finish so many times. It was so fun. Got all the Chaos Emeralds, got the perfect ending, had fun with like the level select, up, down, left, right, A start. Still remember that. And the subsequent sequels that had come out afterwards were also really good, like Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Sonic and Knuckles. And if you recall, Sonic and Knuckles actually had a pretty slick approach to the cartridge where you could actually plug in like Sonic 2 or Sonic 3 onto the top of the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge, and you'd actually unlock certain features and abilities in previous games. So you could go back and have replayability with those games. It was brilliant. After that, you had like Sonic CD, and that was by far one of the best. I would say Sonic CD is really high up there. And once Sonic made his trek into 3D, that's when things started to go south, in my opinion. Now, the first 3D game that came out for Sonic was Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast. And that actually, in a lot of ways, was a success. It was a really cool approach to the game. I really did enjoy a lot that it had to offer for the time. However, I started to notice a concerning pattern, which was that Sonic was starting to live within the human world. And I felt that was problematic because there were, like in Sonic Adventure, in between levels and stuff, like he'd be running through a city, like a San Francisco city or something. And I'm thinking, Sonic the Hedgehog lives in this fantasy tropical paradise. It's in a very much a fantasy world. Why is he all of a sudden, existing in these places that actually has humans? And
his home is Green Hill Stage 1.
Green Hill Zone.
Green Hill Zone.
And so, just watching that happen. And unfortunately, it got worse and worse as time gone on. I did enjoy Sonic Adventure. I thought that was a really cool Dreamcast title. However, Sonic Adventure 2 started to go away from that. And then also the later games that came out afterwards just really didn't do the franchise any favors. And it was unfortunate because Sonic is such a cool design. It's such a cool character design, the levels and stuff, the way that they are designed to just have fun with speed, being able to sometimes get him fast enough where all of a sudden it seems like the screen can't keep up with him. I thought that was just great.
Sonic was revolutionary in that sense, where nothing we had ever played before or seen before had moved that fast.
Right.
And they actually advertised that one feature. And I'm going to look for the advertisement on YouTube, and I'll post it to the Facebook page, Rose.
Oh, thank you, Steve.
But Sonic even today is like fast. When you're playing the game, I'm like, keep up. It's fast for even today.
Yeah.
But that's partly why I enjoyed watching you play it, is because when I played it, I would kind of lose track of what's happening and where I'm going and when to jump or whatever. I thought, okay, I can only do so much. I'm going to just watch you play and enjoy it from here on out.
Now, there was a title called Sonic Generations that came out for Xbox 360. I don't know if it came out for PS3 as well, but that actually was a big step into the right direction because you had certain travesties like I can't remember what it's called, but it was like basically Sonic turning into a werewolf or something. And it was just awful. And there were other titles too that just, you had issues with trying to maintain your speed, and there'd be collision detection issues where all of a sudden you just stop running at full speed.
Yeah.
And you have to start from scratch again, or just weird approaches to the game itself. And it just, you're really alienating your audience at that point. So Sonic Generations is actually a game that I've almost beaten. I need to go back to it and keep playing, but it had a lot of levels that I really enjoyed where they combined the old school Sonic in kind of a 2.5D fashion with more of the current modern Sonic of 3D, but they did a lot of things right. There were a couple levels that were like, they're okay, but for the most part, I was like, yes, this is exactly what needs to happen. So fast forward to Sonic Mania, and Sonic Mania is a complete love letter to the 16-bit days of Sonic the Hedgehog. I have not beaten the game. I've gotten I think, through about 4 of the levels. I've gotten through Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Studiopolis, and I think I'm currently on Flying Battery. And what's great is that apparently there are other levels, including Press Garden, Stardust Speedway, Hydro City, Mirage Saloon, Oil Ocean, Lava Reef, Metallic Madness, Titanic Monarch, and of course, then the special stages. There's another one that's called something like Egg Reverie.
Sure.
Reverie, Egg Reverie, something like that. Anyway, a ton more for us to be able to explore and enjoy. But so far, I'm absolutely enjoying it. I think it's terrific. I think it's great that it's getting the attention that it has been receiving from IGN and GameSpot and Polygon and Kotaku. I mean, everybody, even like when I listen to podcasts, I listen to like Kinda Funny on my iPhone. Everyone has nothing but praise for this title. And so for us to be able to sit down and play it, I see what they're talking about. Even like the intro, we actually have it playing on loop as we're recording this podcast. So I glance over to it every now and then, but they have like this great cartoon 2D anime style intro, and it just throws back to the Sonic CD days. That was one of the things I always loved, as well as Sonic Adventure. It's one of the things that they did right. But yeah, I can't believe that they were able to harness the magic of what made Sonic great in the first place.
Reintroduce the soul of Sonic.
Yeah, and I love too how they made their focus just on Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles.
Yeah.
I think that's great because for a while there, they started to just introduce all these different characters, and I felt like it was muddying the waters too much. It was like, wait, why do we have all these characters? Now, back in the Sonic and Knuckle days, they actually came out with quite a few characters, and I did feel like that was successful in its approach. But since that time, it's like they didn't know what to do with the characters. So it's cool that they have this focus on it, and perhaps if they do a sequel to Sonic Mania, they can bring in a couple of the other characters as well, as long as they have unique gameplay attributes, assigned to them. This game actually gives me hope for the other Sonic game called Sonic Forces coming out. And I think it's supposed to come out this year as well, but that's more of a current gen title. I saw a little bit of it at E3, and so hopefully that'll be good. But what are your thoughts on it, Steve?
Well, it's from my point of view as watching it, you play, not necessarily playing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a fun fest, partly because the music is enjoyable. They I don't know if they made new music for this game. They did. Okay, well they did a great job of combining the old MIDI type music with today's standards, but not necessarily making it with all instruments sort of thing, So it channeled me back to back then, where I did enjoy the music in the game. Sometimes in games, if there's an evil level you're on, it's just kind of like nah, 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 kind of just drones on. But sometimes when it's not so evil of a level, kind of like Green Hill Zone, it's a very happy place, and the music is very happy too. And you kind of want to be happy when you play the game because it leaves you happy.
Well, and they throw
Common
back
theme
to kind of the 90s style music too.
Yeah.
That was something that we were commenting on, was that they really just went full throttle into rehashing what made Sonic so memorable from the 90s. And there are apparently lots of Easter eggs throughout the game that I haven't discovered yet, but there are lots of little things like apparently there's like a level where you can figure out a place where it says Genesis does. And for those of you who weren't around during that time, Sega had a big advertising campaign called Genesis Does What Nintendo Don't.
Yeah.
And so a lot of little things like that, once again, it was completely designed from the ground up as like a love letter to the fans of Sonic, because I think for so long people have just been hoping for a proper Sonic game. And I gotta tell you, even though it's decidedly, the more the pixely 16-bit style graphics, it's pretty crazy to play it on a 60-inch TV.
Exactly.
And not have any black bars, whether it be on the top or the sides. I mean, it's a full 1920 by 1080p experience. And I think that's super cool to be able to play a Sonic game like that. I also think it's a wonderful thing for them to bring in certain cherished and celebrated levels from the previous Sonic games, but then update them in such a way that you actually don't have a layout of the map at all.
Yeah.
And that's what's great too, is as I was playing through like the new Green Hill Zone or the Chemical Plant Zone, I couldn't just rely on my instincts of remembering, oh yeah, I go here and then I go there and then I whatever. Like and it was also done in such a way too where it was smartly done, like just from a level design standpoint. It wasn't like they just threw in a bunch of random paths that you could take. It actually, just a lot of it just made a lot of sense, and it encouraged me to want to go back through those levels and try out the different areas just to see where it would take me. And it got me thinking a lot about how platformers have been kind of stigmatized up until recently within the gaming community. And I think it came from the idea that when we had 32-bit systems get released, it was the dawn of a new age when it came to just the 3D polygonal environments. And so polygons were the darling of the industry. Everybody wanted to learn how to create a 3D world. And as a result, you really saw this, I don't know, like whether it was articles I was reading in magazines or I was looking at stuff online, you really had this general movement away from platform games. And it was almost like just even to say, oh, it's a platformer, it was kind of like just dirty or something. Not to mention the fact that like it was pretty commonplace to see a journalist write, quote, not another platformer. And I remember reading that quite a bit. And so what ended up happening was that we kind of went away from that. And I think just recently we've started to come back into that a bit more, in the sense that I could argue that games like Horizon Zero Dawn, even though it's an adventure game, there are a lot of platform elements to it. The same thing with like Rise of the Tomb Raider. Of course, Ratchet and Clank is a bona fide platformer, and it has been very successful as a result. So what's interesting to me is seeing a lot of these other titles that back in the heyday were a big deal. Like, for instance, Crash Bandicoot just came back out again, and has been getting some praise for that. People have been enjoying playing through it, and apparently it might actually make an appearance on the Xbox platform as well. I'm not sure if that's going to see the light of day or not, but I'm glad to see that Sonic Mania demonstrates successfully that if you put the correct thought into the layout of the level and how the characters interact with that, it doesn't matter if it's a retro game or a next gen title. I mean, it just, that's the foundation that you lay for a platformer style game. And then pretty soon everybody will be loving it and playing it and wanting more of it. So,
Russ, that whole entire time, the one thing I'm thinking about is Sonic, once you've collected like 99 rings, and then like one little turtle or spiky turtle or something like that gets you in the wrong play and sticks you, and then Sonic jumps in the air and 99 rings go whoosh. I don't know, it's almost like in slow motion, and you're going no, because you've collected 99 rings, almost got an extra life or something.
Yeah, you get extra life.
But I think even that back in the day was pretty revolutionary, because that was a lot happening on screen at one point.
Oh yeah.
Which, there's no disc moving, there's no laser or reading anything, it's just all little computer chips. And I think all the rings were like spinning too, which was hard for the system to compute.
All those animated GIFs.
Yeah. Wow. I think what's important in the level design, especially for Sonic the Hedgehog, is different components that make him go fast or fly through the air. And were you playing you were playing the Chemical Plant when I was here, right? Yeah. So you had all these different hydraulic things, you had springs, you had little like pinball style pungs. I don't know what they're called, little bumpers or something. Yeah. And so you could see Sonic jump all over the place. It wasn't about him just running around and poofing his little furry buddies out of the contraptions, robot contraptions. But that was partly enjoyable too. That was more so for me anyway, was seeing Sonic jump all over the place at high speed. You know, it wasn't just him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you get a really great sense of velocity and inertia.
Yeah.
And I also really appreciated Dr. Robotnik. I'm glad to see him come back because it just seemed like he took kind of a back seat.
Yeah.
And to me, the formula for Sonic is so straightforward and simple. It's just create multiple levels that exist in this kind of fantasy world. Don't place it in a human world because that's just weird. It just breaks the visual design. You're like, what the heck is going on? And don't have them interact with people. Just keep it to animals. Have the only like human-esque, humanoid character as Dr. Robotnik. And on top of that, just have, like you said, like have levels designed in such a way that celebrates speed.
Yeah.
Do it in a way that just, it makes it in certain ways predictable and other ways unpredictable, but never have a moment where all of a sudden you're going at a snail's pace. You need to be able to play with that back and forth. And I love too just how the boss battles that I have witnessed so far just harken back to just those great 16-bit boss battles of the heyday. And I just feel like we need more of that as I think about it with like current gen and next gen systems. Just having boss fights like that, but using more of a current game engine. I mean, you could have some epic boss battles. And it goes back to kind of one of our earlier podcast episodes where we talk about games we'd like to see for next gen. Mm-hmm. You know, like one of the titles I think about is Contra 3. Like it'd be so awesome to have a next gen title of Contra where like you have these larger than life bosses and just the ridiculous over the top action of like, how would that look? Yeah. What kind of experience could you pull from that? So yeah, I'm going to be having a lot of fun playing through the rest of Sonic Mania and also just trying to find all the Easter eggs and replaying through it. And then, like I said, it gives me a lot of hope that Sonic Forces will be a good game once that gets released too.
I think they did a good thing where they had Dr. Robotnik not always come out in a new robot or a new contraption that you had to jump and hit all the time.
Sure.
And at the end of the level, before I left that night, you were facing him and it was this Tetris style match where there was no jumping. There was no trying to bump him on his robot. It was like, okay, who's going to win the Tetris battle? And whoever wins the Tetris battle between Sonic and Dr. Robotnik is going to win the match, basically. And then you're going to move on to the next zone. So that was just kind of creative, their own little take on Tetris, and it was just original.
Oh, it was great. Yeah. Well, it reminded me of kind of columns too.
Right.
Yeah, it's so far it's just been a wonderful romp through. So I'll probably have more comments about that in the future episodes as we go along and we cover what I've been playing lately. Anyway, I believe that about wraps it up for this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or just want to show us some love, you can find us on Twitter at Joygasm TV and Facebook.com/Joygasm TV. You can also listen to us on SoundCloud at SoundCloud.com/Joygasm TV or search Joygasm TV on YouTube. And no matter which platform you use, as always, please drop us a subscription, thumbs up, or a review because it helps us build awareness, and that's what we're all about around here. So until next time, happy gaming. Ciao.